Hi everybody, so today we are creating a partial balance sheet listing that's going to be showing the property, plant, and equipment and the intangible assets of Nike. So the first thing I do is whenever I see a word problem where it's kind of written out in paragraph form, I like to just make a list of everything. That way I can easily see what accounts and the amounts, as well as that way I don't miss anything. So in the balance sheet, as you'll remember, the first thing we want to record is the property, plant, and equipment. And one thing before we get started, I want to talk about two things that they listed. They listed accumulated amortization and accumulated depreciation. And it's important to remember the difference between the two and what they apply to. So accumulated depreciation is on anything that can decrease in value. So this is going to be, depreciation is going to be associated with the decrease in value of the other plant assets, the machinery and equipment, and the buildings, because all of these things can decrease in value over time with wear and tear. And then the other account, which is accumulated amortization, is allocating the cost of intangible assets over a period of time, because if you purchase a patent for $100,000, you don't really, and you expect to use it for 5 years, you don't really want to say, oh, I spent $100,000 this year, and then you don't spend anything in the next 4 years. In accounting, we prefer to just kind of spread it out over the life of the patent, and so that's what accumulated amortization does. It allows you to spread out the expense of that patent over the books over a period of time, so that way it just looks better on the books and it's more realistic, because you do plan on using that over a period of time, not just that 1 year. So anyways, so land does not depreciate. As you know, if you purchase land, it's often because it's an investment. So land we do not depreciate. So under property, plant, and equipment, we have the cost of the land, and then we add the cost of other plants, machinery, and buildings, and then we subtract the accumulated depreciation, or how the value went down that year. And so then when you add this and subtract the depreciation, you get 1,885. And then you add those two numbers together to equal the total property, plant, and equipment. Second part of the problem is we're going to be recording the intangible assets. So the first thing is goodwill. Goodwill is something that does similar to land. It does not decrease in value unless there's extreme cases like tarnishing of the reputation. But for the most part, goodwill doesn't lose value, so they don't use accumulated amortization. And I'm not saying like the patents do kind of lose value because it's only valuable for a certain amount of time. That maybe doesn't make sense. So if you have a better way of explaining it, can you just write it in the comments? In the comments, the purpose of accumulated amortization and stuff like that. So goodwill is 170. The patents and trademark was 530. Then you subtract the accumulated amortization to equal this total here, and then you add the two together to equal the total intangible assets. And that is the whole problem. And like I said, if you have a way that you remember, or that you keep accumulated amortization and accumulated depreciation, how you keep the two straight, or how you think of them in your mind, please share that in the comments. Thanks, and good luck on your upcoming exam.